What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with a Detroit Lions free agency update, man. We have some more free agent news for the Detroit Lions. Today, we have a re-signing to announce, so let's get it started. Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here, and I'm pretty excited about this re-signing for the Detroit Lions. Maybe this isn't the biggest name, but it is a guy that has been pretty critical to the Lions' success. He has made a couple of key plays over this past season that I'm sure we all remember pretty well, and that's really maybe been his biggest impact on the team. However, he also gives us really nice depth, and he's one of our best special teamers. That is CJ Moore, who is reportedly re-signing to the Detroit Lions for a 2-year, $4.5 million deal, with reportedly $3 million of that being guaranteed and $1.25 million of that as incentives. Now, based on that alone, again, we'll see how accurate that's going to be. Based on that alone, it seems like CJ Moore is likely not going to have much of an out this year, and that he'll probably be pretty much a lock to make the team. I mean, you can always get out of these deals, but I would assume that he's going to make the team this year. I'm just curious to see what his details look like for next season. Is there an out within next season? But regardless, CJ Moore is a 27-year-old safety for the Lions, 5'11", 197, that again has maybe made his biggest impact to this point with the Lions on special teams. This past season, he had a couple of fake punts that he converted for first downs. And actually, it's funny, going back to coming into the season, CJ Moore urged his agent that he wanted to be here with Detroit. He said this: everybody was like, man, you got opportunities to go somewhere else. I was literally telling my agent I want to come back to Detroit because I know the type of confidence we have in this locker room. Now, to give you guys a little context on what I'm actually talking about here. So coming into the season, CJ Moore was not with the Lions. He was waived injured. He was on the NFI list. He had a boot. So the Lions waived him coming into the season. Then the Houston Texans picked him up and added him to their practice squad. At this point, now he's healthy and he was able to be taken off of a practice squad. So the Detroit Lions signed him from the Houston Texans practice squad. And that is where he urged his agent, I want to be back with Detroit. So he's back on the Detroit Lions team, and that's why some of his statistics are lower, because he wasn't with us the entire season. But at the time, the Detroit Lions were very light at safety, with Tracy Walker injured, if he was dealing with an injury, and also on top of that, Bobby Price, I believe, was on IR. CJ Moore has made some big plays on special teams for the Lions, and this is something I have brought up, is the special teamers that we have lost so far this offseason, whether that's the guys like Chris Board, who now just signed with the New England Patriots, I believe. We lost some big-time special teams impact players so far this offseason, but getting CJ Moore back brings some of that back to the Detroit Lions, one of our best special teamers, and he plays on pretty much every special teams unit for us, including, kick return, kick coverage, punt return, punt coverage, field goal block team, plays on pretty much every team for the Lions. According to Pro Football Focus, they gave him an 81.5 PFF grade on special teams, and in 2021, they gave him an 82.6 PFF grade on special teams. But it's those fake punts, it's those big conversions that we all remember from CJ Moore as that personal protector for the Lions. However, he also gives us some safety depth as well, and this has been something that he's actually done for us a few times these last couple of years, and it's probably not the thing that you think about when you think CJ Moore, but it has been helpful for the Lions. Over these past few seasons, we've gotten to see CJ Moore a little bit defensively, mainly as a depth piece for the Lions, and I believe that this re-signing basically kind of pencils him in as the number 4 safety heading into this year, which is great. It gives us depth. I mean, I think he'll compete for Iffy, but Iffy, I think, is going to have a little bit of a different role because of his build. He's more of a tight end matchup guy, which is actually a perfect compliment to CJ Moore, because that's not really what CJ Moore is. If anything, his biggest weakness, probably in coverage, is the athleticism side of him matching up on tight ends. Sometimes he could just be outsized, and it's not a great matchup for him. But he has been able to plug in for us when different safeties have went down over the last couple of years, play both safety positions for us, really be a reliable coverage safety in terms of you're not going to get a ton of breakdowns from CJ Moore in the back end. He may be a little bit limited athletically, but he is a very smart back end player for the Lions, and he's been able to do that. This past year, in week 9, we had Kirby Joseph go down twice with an injury against the Green Bay Packers. He stepped in, filled a role for the Lions, and he was able to play alongside Deshaun Elliott in that game and mix between safety positions. Then the next week, week 10, we had Deshaun Elliott go out, and he had to play alongside of Kirby Joseph. So we've gotten to see him in both of those roles. He also played a little bit in week 15 for the Lions as well. Then you go back to 2021, we mainly saw him at the end of the season, where he allowed 7 receptions on 10 targets according to PFF, with a sub 40 passer rating. He had the 1 interception, the first interception of his career, against the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. Hopefully that's like a sign of things to come, like, hey, this is what I do. So Jordan Love, there you go. I mean, I don't know. Like, Kirby Joseph kind of became that for Rodgers. Maybe CJ Moore is a little bit of that to love. I'm just saying, just kind of like right place, right time. Either way, CJ Moore showed up in that game. And I thought last year, 2021, he started to show that versatility of like, oh, I can play in the box, but I can also play deep safety. I'm just a reliable coverage piece for you that's not going to break down in the back end. But also what he brings to special teams is one of our best special teams players. Is really nice considering some of the pieces that we have already lost this offseason. Now, the $1.25 million incentives, again, I don't know the details of this. I would assume a lot of that's probably based on playing time because he's not going to be coming in as a starter. Tracy, Kirby, those guys are pretty much locked in as your starters. We know Deshaun Elliott signed with the Dolphins. I thought a big reason for that was just numbers. Like, Elliott here was probably coming in as our backup because those two were starters, and I thought if he was going to stick at safety and kind of be that tight end guy for us. So I thought numbers-wise it was going to be difficult to bring back Elliott. However, now CJ Moore gives us that depth heading into the draft, which was still there. I mean, it was like, okay, we're going to need depth for this position if we didn't bring him back, and he also fills a huge special teams void for us this upcoming season. So kind of more of a depth signing, but I'm a fan of CJ Moore. I became a big fan of him after 2021, and I really liked the re-signing at that time to bring him back. Like he said, he urged his agent to come back to Detroit, and he had a really nice season once again, and he earned a little bit more money. So congratulations to CJ Moore. He is back with the Lions. I was not able to find any updates on a guy like Emmanuel Mosley and his contract details. When I get those, I will share those with you. But CJ Moore is back. The 27-year-old safety is back on the Lions for maybe 2 more seasons. With that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Pride, for watching, and I'm out.